Hey guys, it's Dr. Bickling from Own It Dental. As always, here's my contact information if you need to get a hold of me. And if you guys are enjoying these videos, please do hit that like button, hit that thumbs up button. It's right down below. It only takes you a second, and by now you should have plenty of practice doing it. Speaking of practice, today we're going to talk about what these two things have in common: a Rubik's Cube and a 5-minute crown prep. So let's dig into it. All right, so I apologize today for the weird effects here. I am going to be using a Rubik's Cube today, and as you can see, if I have a green screen behind me, a real green screen, then the green on this is going to make this look transparent, and then you won't see my beautiful face. So I had to do a kind of a workaround for the green screen, so there's going to be a little weird effect behind me. I apologize. But in any case, today we're going to talk about what does a Rubik's Cube and a 5-minute crown prep have in common. You're all familiar with the video I sent out a while ago about the 5-minute crown prep, and this is by far one of my most popular videos. If we look at it, it's got, like right here, it's got 1.6 thousand views, so 1,600 plus views. So it's definitely my most popular video. However, it's also the one where I get the most heat. It's also the one with the most negative comments. And these are all public comments. I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but like I said, they posted them. So today we're going to talk about this a little bit. So first one's here from Tennessee Douglas. Yeah, it's not difficult to do a tooth with no interproximal contact and no caries or restorations removal, no tongue, no saliva, and blah, 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 blah. Give me a tooth and I can do it in less than 1 minute. So yeah, Tennessee Douglas didn't like me doing a 5-minute crown prep video for whatever reason. So I responded to Tennessee. I was like, hey, I agree. I'm just doing it on the bench, so it's easier for you to see the technique. Right? It's easier on the bench. Absolutely. But the point of the video is to show you the techniques so that you can then practice it on the bench and then implement it in the mouth, just like we did in dental school, right? This next guy, MB2ICU, very reasonable. Hey, listen, I'd love to see the technique in the mouth, maybe a description on, what burrs you're using, so on and so forth. So yeah, maybe I'll do that at some point. Like I said, I just did it on the bench to make it a little easier to film, easier to see, so you can kind of see the technique, and then you just translate it into the mouth. And then, obviously in my comment to Tennessee Douglas, I was like, hey, are you insinuating that this can't be done in the mouth? And he's like, not 5 minutes, but feel free to post a video to prove me wrong. Right? So anybody that's worked with me knows that I do my crown preps in less than 5 minutes all the time. 5 minutes is actually a long time for a crown prep for me, even with a tongue and saliva. All right, so shut up. If you can't do it, I believe you. Right? So, there's this guy. I'm not sure if this is he's being sarcastic or if he's being honest, and I can never be as good as you. And, when these people tell me they can't, I believe them. And the reason why is because if they believe they can't do something, they're right, because they're not going to do the work. They're not going to practice. They're not going to do it over and over and over again and then translate that technique into the mouth. So yeah, if they tell me they can't do it, I always believe them. And so I've trained hundreds of dentists in my career, and I know that any doctor that sits down and practices the 5-minute crown prep can do it. I make my doctors do it. I make them be able to do 10 5-minute crown preps in a row. They sit down with a extract a tooth set in stone. They do their start time and their end time, and then they prep the burr and they time themselves, and then they turn that into me. They have to do 10 of them in 5 minutes or less before I even allow them to see patients. So I, as the boss, I, as the one making, employing them, I make them prove to me that they can do a 5-minute crown prep before I even let them see patients. So, but today before we get into that anymore, today we're going to talk about a Rubik's Cube. And I can solve a Rubik's Cube. Now, what does this have to do with a 5-minute crown prep? Well, I'm not one of these geniuses that can just pick up a Rubik's Cube and solve it instantly. As a matter of fact, I didn't learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube until I was 45 years old. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the steps that I learned to solve a Rubik's Cube, and I'll describe it to you. And by the way, I'm going to time myself when I do it too. So before we get started though, there are a few things that you need to know about a Rubik's Cube. The first thing is that the center dots are always in the same place. Now, this is what's called a speed cube. It looks a little different than a traditional one. The edges are kind of rounded off a little bit to help it rotate a little faster. But in any case, the center dots are always in the same place. So the green is always opposite of blue. The yellow is always opposite of white. And the orange is always opposite of red. So that's the first thing we need to know when we solve a Rubik's Cube. The second thing that we need to know is we generally need to have an orientation. And for most people, I'll scoot over here a little bit. For most people, when they're solving a Rubik's Cube, we always solve with white on the bottom. Okay, so white's going to be the bottom, yellow is going to be on the top, and then the other colors will be around there. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to mix this up, random mixing, and I'll mix it for a few seconds here. Make sure we get a good mix. I'm not doing anything, no trickery here. It's going to be an absolute mix here. And then when you guys feel like it's comfortably mixed, you can tell me to stop. Okay, stop. Okay, cool. So here's our Rubik's Cube. It's properly mixed, just random mixing up. Now, I'm also going to time it here. All right, so I got my stopwatch here. We're going to time it here. I'm going to put this down. And then we're going to go through the steps that I learned and practiced over and over and over again to solve a Rubik's Cube. So again, white's going to be on the bottom, yellow's going to be on the top. I'm going to hit the start button here in a second. First step, step one, start button, hit go, is solve for the white cross. So here, again, the white is on the bottom. So I'm going to solve for the white cross. Now, when I say the white cross, this piece here has to be white and orange, because it has to tuck that. But this isn't the orange one. This is the red one. So let me move the red one over here. And now I'll get that red one in place. So now I have the white and the red lined up. So let's see what else I can find. Here's the blue one. I need to get the blue one in place. So let's move it up here, move it over to the blue. And now I've got the blue. I've got the blue and the red lined up. So what's the next one we can find? Here's a green one here. Here's a green and white one here. So I'm going to line that up with the green, which is over here. And then bring that down. And now I have 3 of the 4 for the white cross. And here's the orange one. Let me bring it up. Okay, nope, actually just bring it around to the orange and then bring it down. And so now I have the white cross formed here, if you guys can see that. There you go. All right, and they're all lined up with the appropriate colors on either side. So now we go on to step 2. Step 2 is called F2L, our first 2 layers. Remember, the white is the bottom layer, the yellow is the top layer, and these are the first 2 layers. The third layer is where I maneuver the pieces around. So now what I need to do is I need to line up the corner piece and the edge piece and get them into place. So let's first see if we can find one. I found one here. The green, I'm going to try to put this green orange one here. Oh, there's the other one there. So let's get that out of the way. And then bring that back down. All right, so let's go to the orange. I got to get this one. Oop, no, that wasn't good. So where's my green and orange? Ah, there it is. All right, so I need to get that one over here. See, I'm not an expert at this, but now I have that, the green and orange. Oh, here's the green one there. So we got that one. So now we got the, let's go to red and blue now. So here's red and blue. There's that one. I need to put that one over there. I'm gonna bring that down, put that over, come up there. All right, so now I have the red and blue corner solved there, you can see. All right, so now let's go to the green, red, and white. So let's do this little maneuver here. Where's the other one? It's right here. So I got to get that up into the third layer, get that out of the way, rotate that down. I got to bring it over next to me here. And then I'll go to the red. All right, so now I have the green. I've got the entire red side and half the blue side. So I just have to do a couple more corners here. So now we're going to go to this one here. That I should not have done. So let me bring that down. I just messed that bad boy up here. All right, so let's do that one more time here. Oh, there we go. We could do that like this. Oh boy, we got that on the complete wrong side, didn't we? All right, there we go. All right, I ended up ruining up this corner when I messed up there for a second, but we'll get that back. All right, so we had the red and blue there. We'll fix that one there. There we go. Now we got the red solved. We got the blue solved. We got half the orange solved. We just have to solve this corner now here. So let's bring this over here. All right, now where's my orange and red? There it is right there. So let's bring this one over there, wrap it up, and boom. So now I have the first two layers solved, if you can see here. Okay, so then we go to the next step, which is to find the yellow cross. Now I don't have a yellow cross, I have a yellow, like this thing. So I'm gonna do this little technique here that'll now give me a yellow stripe, and then I'm gonna do that little technique one more time, and that should give me the yellow cross. Now I have that yellow cross formed right there. So now we're going to move on to the next step, which is I have to get the crosses on all four sides. Now I got the orange one here, the green. Oh, and these all happen to be in place. So that saves me a little bit of time. So we're just actually going to move on from that. And the next one is now I've got to put the corners in place and then rotate them. Now this corner is in place. You can see it's the blue, orange, and yellow, but these other ones aren't. So I'm going to do this technique here, which I practiced over and over again. Now the blue, orange, and yellow is in place. This one's in place. The green, red, and yellow is in place. Now they're all in place. So now we can move on to our final step, which is now I've put the corners in place. Now I have to rotate them. And then I do this one more time and rotated them a little bit. Let's try this again. All right, so I have two of them lined. Oops, sorry, I've got two of them lined up here. Now I'm going to do this one more time. Okay, and one last time. And after I do this, this should be solved. And there you are, a solved Rubik's Cube. Stop it. Just over 5 minutes. And that's with, obviously me messing up a couple of times, as well as describing what I'm doing, as well as going through a PowerPoint. So if I did this and didn't have to describe it, I could probably get this done in about 2 minutes. But in any case, the reason why I did this is not to brag, is I want to show you a couple of points. The first thing is that I'm not a genius. I didn't just, oh, hey, look at me solve Rubik's Cubes. No, I learned the steps. And as you can see, there's 6 steps. There's 6 steps in doing it. And what I did was I learned the first step first, and then I just repeated it over and over and over again. And then I learned the second step, and then I just repeated it over and over and over again. I did the first step and then the second step, and then I learned the third step, and I repeated it over and over and over again. And then I did the first and second and third, and I just kept doing it over and over and over again. There's probably nothing in my life that I've really spent more dedication and time on than just learning how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Now, the other point that I also want to make is that may have seemed boring to you, and it may have taken a long time, in your mind for me to do that. But if you remember, that was only 5 minutes, right? Imagine a drill being in your mouth for that period of time. That's a long time to patience. So, us doing these, 30, 40, 50-minute crown preps, the drill's in the patient's mouth for that amount of time, right? They don't want that. As a matter of fact, I've only ever had one patient in my entire career complain that I did it too fast. It did a crown prep, probably took me about 2 or 3 minutes. I said, "You're all done. Let's get the impression and get y'all on out of here." And he's like, "Wait a minute. What? That was super fast. What am I paying you all this money for?" I told him, I said, "I agree with you. Open up. I'll keep drilling, and you tell me when you feel like you've had your money's worth." So he's like, "No, no, 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 no." It's like, all right, then you're not paying me for my time. You're paying me for my expertise. And as Gordon Christensen always says, if you can do something fast, that is a sign of expertise. So one of the things that I know when I talk about what do these things have in common is this: if you can't do a 5-minute crown prep, one thing I know is you haven't practiced. You haven't done the work. If your associates can't do a 5-minute crown prep, that means they haven't practiced. Just like the Rubik's Cube, they haven't put in the work. They haven't put in the time to learn the steps, learn it on the countertop first, and then we move it into the mouth. And then the last thing is that no matter what a dentist says, whether they say they can do a 5-minute crown prep or they can't do a 5-minute crown prep, in either case, they're always correct. Because if they think that they can't do one, they're not going to put in the work and they're not going to be able to do it. But if they think that they can, they'll do the steps, they'll put in the work, and they'll make sure, and they'll time themselves, and they'll make sure that they can get that crown prep done in 5 minutes or less, hopefully faster than I can solve a Rubik's Cube. So in any case, I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, I'm Dr. Bickling, and I'll see you on the next one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like it, go to ownitdental.com or click the link above and check out my services. I have dozens of hours of training videos and have negotiated reduced lab fees for all my clients. So if you want to get out of the dental chair and start owning your business, go to ownitdental.com and check out my services, and I'll see you soon.